Welcome to Fresh Ground Theology's The Weekend Cup. Order yourself a fresh cup of coffee, pull up a chair, and join us as we explore some of the most fascinating saints and figures from church history. Today we conclude our series on Saint Boniface, the Apostle to the Germans. By the end of his life, Boniface had already transformed the spiritual landscape of large portions of Europe. He had challenged pagan strongholds, established churches and monasteries, trained clergy, reformed corrupted church structures, and helped root Christianity deeply within Germanic territories. At that point, he could have retired safely, but instead, Boniface returned to Frisia, the very region where his earliest missionary attempt failed decades before. He was now an elderly man, likely around 80 years old. Travel was exhausting and violence remained common. Pagan resistance still existed. But Boniface remained convinced that the mission was unfinished. This persistence reveals something important about how he understood Christian life itself. Boniface did not believe Christianity was primarily about personal comfort or cultural identity or even institutional success. He realized believers participated in a cosmic struggle between the kingdom of God and the rebellious spiritual powers seeking dominion over humanity, and he believed Christ had already secured victory through the cross and resurrection. That confidence gave him peace even in danger. During his final missionary journey, Boniface and his companions prepared to meet with new converts for confirmation and teaching. Instead, an armed group approached their camp. According to traditional accounts, some member of Boniface's company wanted to defend themselves violently, but Boniface refused. He reportedly urged them to trust God rather than retaliate. Some traditions even describe him holding up a gospel book as the attacker struck. Whether every later detail can be historically verified or not, the outcome is clear. Boniface and many of his companions were killed. He died a martyr. And there is something profoundly important about the way Boniface died. Throughout his ministry, he had aggressively confronted paganism and spiritual darkness. He challenged idols directly. He dismantled sacred pagan symbols. He labored tirelessly against corruption and deception. But at the moment of his death, he did not meet violence with violence. That distinction matters. Boniface understood spiritual warfare primarily as faithfulness to Christ, not domination through force. His confidence rested in the belief that martyrdom itself testified to the triumph of Christ over death. And within the early and medieval church, martyrdom carried enormous spiritual significance. Martyrs were seen as witnesses whose faithfulness exposed the impotence of earthly powers and spiritual rebellion alike. In Boniface's worldview, death did not represent defeat. It represented entrance into the presence of the king he had served his entire life. After his death, Boniface's body was taken to Fulda Abbey, where it became a site of pilgrimage and remembrance. But Boniface's true legacy extended far beyond his burial place. His missionary efforts helped shape the Christian identity of Europe for centuries. His reforms strengthened church structures across Germanic lands. His emphasis on education and theological formation influenced generations of clergy and scholars. But perhaps most importantly, Boniface embodied a worldview many modern people have lost entirely. He believed the spiritual world was real. He believed worship mattered eternally. He believed nations and cultures were shaped by spiritual allegiance. And he believed Christ truly ruled above every throne, every ruler, every ideology, and every hostile power. That conviction made him extraordinarily courageous. Modern Western culture often reduces religion to private feelings or personal morality and symbolic ritual. Boniface would not have recognized that framework at all. To Boniface, Christianity was cosmic in scope. The gospel announced the reign of Christ over heaven and earth, Missionary work represented the reclaiming of territory from spiritual darkness. Discipleship meant transferring allegiance from the powers of rebellion into the kingdom of God. That perspective infused every part of his ministry, and whether one agrees with every aspect of medieval Christianity or not, Boniface's life forces difficult questions. Do Christians actually believe the spiritual realm is real? Do they believe worship shapes people and cultures? Do they believe Christ's authority extends beyond private spirituality into every sphere of life? Boniface certainly did. And because he believed it, he crossed forests, he confronted paganism, he built churches, he trained leaders, endured danger, and ultimately gave his life proclaiming Christ among the nations. Thank you for listening to Fresh Ground Theology's The Weekend Cup. Come back next time and listen as we continue to explore saints and figures from church history.